Let's walk and talk. So today I wanted to discuss with you guys my life with high functioning anxiety and how it affects the Forget that. All right, let's try again. So the thing about it is, all right, so let's talk. Chances are you are here because you, like me, have anxiety, or maybe were once diagnosed with high functioning anxiety. I live with anxiety every day, but did you know that over 40 million people have anxiety in the United States alone? That's almost 20% of the population. As crazy as it may sound, I bet you I've probably had well over 1,000 panic attacks that vary in intensity, as well as some of the different symptoms of anxiety. And I'm sure some of you have had way more. So before I get started, let me ask you a question. And there's a reason behind this that I'll explain later, but it's a chance to help others with anxiety as well as yourself. What are your symptoms of anxiety? Do you have dizziness, chest pain, cold sweats? So please answer in the comment section down below. You'll be helping more than you know, because towards the end of the video, I'm gonna give you what I think is one of the most helpful anxiety relief methods to help start your journey to managing and hopefully defeating anxiety. Lastly, please take a second to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't subscribe, I will poop in your trash can. So I recently read an article that defined high functioning anxiety as a hidden problem faced by those who live with anxiety but manage to excel at work and in their relationships. So here's my story of what high functioning anxiety looks like in my life. So I have had anxiety for about 8 years at this point. I've had years of therapy, used medications, read many books. I've had cognitive behavioral therapy, journaling, meditated for countless hours, and through all of that, I think that I can expand on this definition of anxiety and maybe provide you some help and clarity. I've learned a lot of the dirty secrets and tricks that anxiety pulls, so I'll be making a playlist so that we can work together to beat this thing. With high functioning anxiety, I actually mistake what I think is the energy to do things in life for anxiety. For example, I can tell you that when I experienced my first attack about 8 years ago, I was working as a full-time software engineer. I was also programming a large side project. I was working out. I was carb cycling to lean out. I was playing on 2 soccer teams, studying World War II and apologetics. So with all of that persistent mental work, my body finally threw in the towel and shut down. And sometimes what I found through experience and my reading is that with anxiety, the body is actually ahead of the mind. So there I was sitting in my cubicle in Tampa, Florida, about 10 o'clock in the morning, working away when out of nowhere, it was like I lost control of my head. Much like when you're falling asleep and your head drops and you try to wake up. It happened for a second and it was more intense than just feeling as though I was gonna pass out. It was much more like I was just shutting off. I began to lose feeling in my legs, my arms, and I started to have chest pain directly over my heart. So naturally, I thought, this is it, man, I'm having a heart attack. So I had the brilliant idea, no doubt approved by brain surgeons across the world. I went and I hid in the bathroom. Hey, do you mind? Rude. I was trying to figure out what was going on. Maybe my sugars were crashing, but the feeling only intensified as now I began to lose the feeling in my face, my lips were tingling, and now my legs were completely numb.
The only thing that concerns me is the preservation of life! Class is dismissed.
So I one-upped myself again with another genius idea. I decided to drive home. This is why I don't take IQ tests. So before you know it, I'm in the parking lot of a nearby mall, waiting on the ambulance, and I'm slumped over the center console, literally praying and getting right with the Lord, because I genuinely felt like I was checking out for good. I really thought that I was dying. The paramedics gave me multiple doses of nitroglycerin under the tongue in case it was a heart attack, but they forewarned me that if this wasn't a heart attack, I was in for one heck of a headache. And yeah, I had one heck of a headache. So every single doctor at the hospital diagnosed me with anxiety. There's no way that this was anxiety. I didn't believe it until it happened again the following week. So when I have anxiety, my body shuts down. I can't open my eyes. I have to talk very quietly with my teeth clenched like this. I have to try and sleep through it. I have to just go to sleep. It's exhausting, and I'm sure you can relate. It literally feels like you're dying. So over time, I've learned that managing my anxiety has a lot to do with balance. As I mentioned earlier, with all of the things that I was doing before my first attack, I tend to overload my plate with one thing, then another, and if this describes you, there's probably a healthy dose of self-worth issues in there too. I know that's me as well. So I have to be careful to make sure that if my plate is feeling full and I want to add something, even a new hobby or commitment, I have to take something off of my plate. That's how I live with high-functioning anxiety. So I actually have a list of 10 things that I'm able to be involved with, such as hobbies like YouTube or responsibilities. If I add one thing to the list, then one thing's gotta come off. So in my experience, if you think that you may be high functioning, chances are you're actually drawing energy from anxiety. I plan on making a whole playlist describing the dirty little secrets that anxiety whispers to you, how to manage the levels of anxiety, and how to manage the symptoms from my experience. But earlier in the video, I did mention a helpful little tip to give you to get you started in managing your anxiety, high functioning or not. Did you ever hear about the 1980s combat action figure cartoon series G.I. Joe? Did you know that that is where we get the saying, knowing is half the battle? G.I. Joe episodes often ended with a public service announcement teaching kids to stay out of danger, don't do drugs, stop snorting Skittles, whatever. So I'm hoping that maybe as I relayed my story to you, you were able to say, yeah, that's what I feel when I have anxiety, or mine is more this. This is why I want you to list your anxiety symptoms in the comments section below so that you can relate to others. I didn't learn this through scientific journals or just therapy or reading books and books and books, but I can tell you that there is the potential for massive healing for you to understand that you are not alone in this and that you have nothing to be embarrassed about. I was blown away by how many people have anxiety after I finally opened up about my anxiety to my friends and family. It's everywhere. Don't watch things that set your anxiety off. If a video of watching someone with heart issues hikes your anxiety, don't watch that stuff. But you can become familiar with the symptoms of others, maybe by reading a comment section or finding a YouTuber to relate to with fantastic style and charisma. Your anxiety is most likely very common, and that is a really, really good thing. Whatever you've been through, there are tools out there to help. And I'm happy to make more videos, and I will, to hopefully bless you, because I think you can agree, you almost wouldn't wish anxiety on anyone. So I hope that this video blessed you today. I have plenty more to say on high functioning anxiety and anxiety in general. But if you have any questions or anything you want me to expand on, please leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and God bless. I'll catch you later.